I've been using Office since the last century, since the previous millennium.
I've been using Office for kind of longer than I would care to admit, probably close to 15 years.
It has to be since about 1992, though. I've been using it for that long, since it really first became popular.
I've been using Office for way too long. Maybe started using Microsoft Office back in 1992 or 89 or something like that.
I've been using Excel since at least Excel 95, maybe even a little earlier than that.
Well, since I've been using Access, which was started in 1998.
Well, I've been using Excel for the past 15 to 16 years.
The program's evolved quite a bit over the last 15 years. I have some old versions of Office installed on some of my computers here in my house, and whenever I open those old versions of Office, I'm surprised at how primitive they look. The old versions of Office were all about menu bars, toolbars. Now it's all about the ribbon and tabs. The new Office is sort of modeled after a website. You click tabs when you want to do a different task.
Obviously, there are a lot more features, but more than that, it's just become a lot more streamlined. And the great thing about Office 2010 is once you've learned how to do something in one application, you can really do it in them all. It's much, much easier to learn how to use the entire suite as opposed to just one program.
If you look at the Office 2010 software, you almost feel like you're looking at a website. There's tabs. You can go from tab to tab depending on what kind of task you want to do. Each screen presents commands to help you complete a different kind of task.
I guess I would say that Office 2010 seems more like an evolution than a revolution to me, but there are lots of new functions that I really have enjoyed exploring with Office 2010. In particular, I would say that the tools for handling images are particularly useful. You can color correct your images, you can edit your images right within an Office application.
The biggest change between Office 2007 and Office 2010 is the Office button, which used to be located in the upper left-hand corner, has been replaced with the File tab. When you click the File tab, you get to something that Microsoft calls the Backstage. And the Backstage is just a place where they've collected all the file management commands. For example, you could turn a PowerPoint presentation into a video file starting on the back page. All your printing commands are there in the Backstage where you can find them easily, and your print preview commands are there as well. It's just a convenient place to put all the file management commands. You can get to them easily, see them, and know how to use them better.
Word 2010 looks just like Word 2007 to the untrained eye, but after you've used it a while, you'll notice there are some subtle differences. The ribbon has been cleaned up just a little bit. There's some things on the ribbon that are a little bit nicer. Microsoft does this every version. They move stuff around, but the biggest change people are going to notice is that the Office button is gone, and in its place is something very logical called the File tab, which makes a lot more sense because it's one of the tabs that you have. You have the File tab, and then you have the Home tab and the Insert tab. So it's much more logical presentation of information. Another major change is that Print Preview is gone. They've changed the way that they've done the print command. So when you choose the print command from the File tab, you see a preview of the document right there. So when you go to print, the preview is right there on the screen. So they've combined Print Preview and Print into one command, which I think is long overdue because they really should be one command.
PowerPoint 2010 has made it easier than ever to use animations. For example, you can make a slide title fade in or fade out, or you can make a ball bounce around on your slide. These are examples of animations. They were hard to do in previous editions of PowerPoint 2010, but now it's quite easy, and you can use them to add a lot of pizzazz to your presentations. I've been to about 1,000 PowerPoint presentations, and I've only seen anybody do this once, and when the presenter did this, it caused a stir and got everybody's attention. If you, in your presentation, go to the lower left corner and click the Pen button, you'll see a pop-up menu. On that pop-up menu, you can choose Pen or Highlighter. And let's say you choose the Pen. Then you can actually draw on your PowerPoint slide during the presentation. For example, in a bulleted list, as you talk about each subject in the list, just cross it off. You can also highlight words on the slide. This is a great way to make your presentation a little bit livelier and make it stand out in the crowd. In Office 2010, you also have some options for delivering your presentation when you can't be there. You can create a video file from your presentation. People can watch your presentation the same way they'd watch a video file. You can also record your voice as part of the PowerPoint presentation. People hear your voice as the presentation plays without your having to be there.
The biggest change between Outlook 2007 and Outlook 2010 has to do with the way they've expanded the use of the ribbon, the new user interface that used to be built into just parts of Outlook, and now it's the way you use all of Outlook. It uses buttons and a big colorful ribbon at the top of the screen to help you figure out what you can do most easily. And that's the most visible change in this version. Some of my favorite new features in Microsoft Outlook 2010 had to do with the ability to manage multiple calendars more easily, and also the search feature is quite a lot better than it was in the past. They've really improved the ability to find the stuff that you tend to store in Outlook and need to find later. They've really made some important improvements in that. I also really like the potential for the social connector. They've just barely begun to implement that, but I think its promise is very great.
Well, one of the major differences between Access 2007 and 2010 is that Access 2010 is now going to be able to integrate with SharePoint very closely. So you're going to be able to write applications that your company can use on the web. So where in 2007, if you created an application, you could put it on a SharePoint site, but people would have to bring it down. In Access 2010, people will be able to use your applications right there on the web.
So Office 2010 and Access 2010, everybody is going to see this huge continuation on the move to the web. And that's one of the best things that's happening for Access. The newest features, web forms, web browser control in a form that is, even if it's offline, being able to move data back and forth to SharePoint, lots of things that people are going to love about that. And the other new feature for users that they'll like is styles and being able to use templates. So people are used to being able to bring in styles, especially if they're using Publisher or Word. Now they'll be able to do those kinds of customizations in Access. We had some of that before. It's greatly expanded.
Probably the biggest change between Excel 2007 and Excel 2010 is the ability to customize the ribbon. The ribbon was introduced in Excel 2007. It was a very different way of using the product from prior versions, and it was a little off-putting to a lot of people. But with the newly introduced capability to customize the ribbon, you can really make it your own and set it up so that you can create your own tabs. You can put everything you want on one tab. You can even make your tab be the first tab that shows up when you open the program so that you never have to use the ribbon per se, other than to select the commands you use regularly. Two kind of cool features. You have the ability to create sparkline charts, which are charts of data that actually fit in a single cell. You also now have the ability with pivot tables to take a slice of a pivot table and show only a portion of the information just by selecting one checkbox.
The biggest change between Excel 2007 and 2010 is that Excel 2010 kind of throws the user into more of a BI realm. In Excel 2007, Microsoft started us off with conditional formatting that does icon sets and things like that, better charts. In 2010, you get more BI-related capabilities, Power Pivot, you get more pivot table functionality, and you also get things that are pretty exciting visually, such as spark lines and better graphs.
Word,
Excel,
Outlook,
PowerPoint.
Access.
Word.
Access.
Well, obviously, you would want to check out Wiley's full suite of books on the topic. But beyond that, I would really focus on learning the basics, because once you've learned how to save, print, create a new file in one program, you know how to do it in all of them. So if you just focus on those basics, you'll find that you can get up and running very quickly.